Stacy Smith, and welcome to this week's episode of E-Hollywood History. Today, we're going to be talking about J.D. Rockefeller, the captain of the oil industry. Roll that clip.
John, you are by far one of the most successful men in the world. What I'm wondering is how the heck did you get to where you are today?
Well, Stace, I guess you could say I was an entrepreneur at a young age. When I was just 16, I got my first job as a bookkeeper's assistant in the Haywood and Tunnel Company. I guess you could say I had a knack for managing money.
I'll say.
My dear Johnny was a businessman even when he was a young boy. He raised his own money working for the neighbors, doing odd jobs and raising my turkeys. Oh, he had quite the little fortune. $50. Being a religious woman myself, I taught little Johnny that he needs to save up and give his money to charity. He's a good man. He's a good man.
So, when did you get into the oil industry, and how did you come across the vast fortune that you hold today?
Well, when I was 24, I got into the oil business with Andrews Clark and Company. My one and only goal was to refine the oil for the poor man so that he can have it cheap and good. I rose up through the industry until I finally founded Standard Oil Company of Ohio alongside my brothers and fellow business associates.
Oh, yikes. Tell me more.
The oil industry was chaotic. The market prices fluctuated constantly and there was an incredibly high level of waste. I knew I had to do something, so I came up with a plan.
And what was that plan?
It was to consolidate all oil refinery firms into one brilliant organization that would eliminate waste and create a stable market price that the common man could afford.
What a great idea. Now, how'd that work out for you?
It was a success. Customers flocked to buy my oil, claiming that no other company can compete with such low prices for such good quality oil.
Wow, if I had one thing to say about Rockefeller, it would be that he drastically improved the overall way of life for all Americans. You see, I'm just an average guy, and I work hard and try hard to keep a roof over my family's heads and keep food on the table. Before Rockefeller created the Standard Oil, oil was for, the rich man. But now with Rockefeller Standard Oil, the price of kerosene has gone down 80%, and so even I can afford it. It's so nice having our home lit by lamps. Because when the candle fell over and started the fire last winter, we lost our home, our possessions, and even my dear son, Tim. Oh, thank you, you shouldn't have. Not only does Rockefeller's oil give us a way to light our homes, it prevents families, like mine, from candle-related tragedies in the future. Thank you, Rockefeller. Thank you so much.
In 1859, Charles Darwin published his book on the origin of species. Would you say this book influenced your business ideology?
Oh yes, definitely. The growth of large business is merely a survival of the fittest. This isn't an evil tendency in business, it is just the will of nature and the will of God.
Well said, J.D. Well said. Hello, now you're the former owner of an oil refinery that you sold to Mr. Rockefeller. So tell us, do you think he gave you a fair deal?
Yes, I do. Others in the same situation, however, did not. The thing is, when we sold out, he gave us a good price. I can't complain. The others tried to take advantage of Mr. Rockefeller and his generosity. One man, his refinery was worth $6,000, $8,000 at most, and his friends were telling him, Mr. Rockefeller ought to give you $100,000 for that. Mr. Rockefeller should not have to do that. Obviously, he said no, and those people did not like that. They abused Mr. Rockefeller. In my own opinion, it was the owners that were not being fair, not Mr. Rockefeller. Can't complain.
Well, there you have it, folks. I guess those guys just couldn't stand the fact that their company could not compete with Rockefeller's. But hey, that's just business. Isn't that right, folks?
Oh, you want me to talk about Rockefeller? Oh, God, he's great. He's like the best guy out there, And like, I'm pretty much his #1 guy. You found the right guy. for this interview, you know. So like Rockefeller has a tendency to be generous because he wants the future goodwill of his new partners and his employees. He treated everybody fairly and tried to get us all to work for the good of the whole. Like, he put us before, like, his business, you know? He thought we're more important than, like, the whole business. And he called us the Standard Oil family. Like, how cool is that? Yeah, and that's because, like, we're all so close. So close.
Now, Rockefeller, there is no denying that you run an incredibly strong business. So tell us, would you consider yourself a threat to the American political system?
No, I'd say I'm just the opposite. My oil is made for the people and by the people, just like the government. And I believe that my company helps to regulate the oil prices and give the people exactly what they want.
Wow, sounds to me like you are a true captain of industry. Now, one final question for you, Rocky, if I may. Well, you made so much money during your lifetime. What did you do with it all?
Well, after my retirement, I donated most of my money to the University of Chicago, along with many other universities, schools for African American women, and medical faculties. I also founded the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, the Rockefeller Foundation, and the Rockefeller Sanitary Commission. As fortunate a man as I was, I wanted to leave a legacy that would give back to the people who truly deserve it.
I just want to say, thanks, Rockefeller. You're the best.
Thank you, Mr. Rockefeller.
Thanks, Mr. Rockefeller.
Thank you, Mr. Rockefeller, son.
Thank you, Rockefeller.
Thank you, Mr. Rockefeller.
Thank you, Rockefeller.
Thank you, Rockefeller.
Thank you, Mr. Rockefeller.
Well, there you have it, folks. J.D. Rockefeller. Not just a man, but a true captain of industry. Tune in next week for our episode on Mr. Frank Harrington. Grade robber or captain of the classroom? You be the judge.